Monique, welcome to Riveter's Time Well Spent.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Monique, we are all about talking about kind of the specifics of all the emotions, the positive and the negative that happen in unemployment. So I want to start at the beginning. Tell me what your first week of unemployment was like.
I think the first week was just I felt like I was just not going to work. I was just on vacation kind of a little bit. And I will say when I left the building, so as you call it, there was kind of this energy of relief, and I felt like freedom a little bit. It made me realize a little bit where I had been the last 5.5 years there, and I was really excited actually about my next journey and my next chapter, and really kind of trying to figure things out. The first week kind of also I was thinking about purpose a lot, and kind of reflecting a little bit more about my career and where I've been through my entire journey and what's next. And I think that's really kind of what my first week kind of looked like a little bit, is like, what's next?
Walk me through that reflection. What does that look like for you? Were you sitting with a journal and a cup of coffee? Were you
No,
calling all your friends? Was it formal, informal, structured? What was that reflection like?
I was kind of sitting with my dad. My dad had come over to my house. Obviously this is right before COVID, so that was still possible. And it was like right around my birthday. And so my dad was visiting me, and, I was talking to him, and, I wasn't upset about the layoff at all. I was, like I said, a little bit relieved in the sense that I was ready for my next chapter. And I started thinking about my mom. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and I thought, well, she had told me some stuff before she passed away, and I was like, I need to start thinking about my purpose. Like, I'm so busy with my career all the time and thinking about, work, work, work. But what else is there out in life that I can do to help other people? And that's kind of how my journey has been over the last few months.
Well, I saw on your, I'm going to butcher the quote, but I saw even on your portfolio, you've got the Steve Jobs quote
Yeah.
that work takes up a big part of your life. Do you remember the rest of the quote? Can you quote it better than I can?
Oh, I can't quote it in exact terms, but when it kind of sums it up in the fact that if you love what you do, it's not going to be work. And I'm totally butchering his entire quote, but I just believe in so much in the fact that if you do what you love, it's not work. It's actually your passion, and that's what comes out. And I think that's something where I think a lot of employees just they kind of forget about that. They forget about the passion of why they love what they do. And I think that can really put you know, a reflection of kind of what you're doing in the past, if what you want and what you don't want. And I think that's something that I realized is I know now really what I do and do not want for my next my next chapter.
And so what is that? You were sitting there with your dad, you were talking about it, you were reflecting on the advice your mom gave you, thinking about purpose, thinking about your next chapter. What did you learn and how did you take action on that?
So, having worked at Nike, I really love sports. I really want to do something with sports. And whether it be my work or volunteer or any of that kind of in that sense, because I volunteered with the North Texas PGA Fairway to Success program, and that was helping kids in inner cities learn the game of golf, but also to help them learn a little bit of life skills, and also give them the opportunity to win scholarships to go to college. And that really hit home for me. That was just such a really great experience. And having worked at Nike on a massive initiative for World Cup 2010, I was able to work down in South Africa in Soweto, and we were able to customize and build a 10,000 square facility for Soweto, which is pretty much an inner city in Johannesburg. And these kids were able to wear the newest Nike gear, play on the pitch with that, learn life skills, get AIDS learnings and testing. And I think that project working at Nike really just hit home with me is what can I do with that to make a difference? And so youth and sports is something that I've wanted to do. And I think that's kind of why I've been speaking with a lot of people who are in the sports industry, because what can I do to kind of get that feeling back, to give back to the community as well?
Well, one of the things that stuck out when preparing for this is that you've spent a big chunk of your time in unemployment actually working with nonprofits and helping them on their marketing work. Was that for you just a way to fill the time, a way to build new skills, a way to spend your time productively? What were you doing around that in your few months of unemployment, and why?
Well, it actually all came down to DCEO, which is the Dallas CEO Women's Leadership Symposium. That was an opportunity for me to hear these amazing women speak on a virtual meeting. And I was so impressed by the speakers, but I was even more impressed by the networking opportunities where you would go into separate chat rooms. And I met so many women from nonprofits, and I was like, how can I help you? Like, and that's it. It started about a month ago, really, but I finally felt like the doors were opening up a little bit to that. And it's not about the money for me. It's about giving my time, my experiences to these places who need it so much. I mean, I think that's the one thing right now. Nonprofits need our help during this time, and I think there's so much going on during this pandemic, as well as the whole Black Lives Matters movement. I think people are starting to realize that everybody kind of gets stuck in their hustle and bustle every day, and they forget the real things that are important. And so it's been a really great opportunity for me to give back and to help other people, and give them my experiences of what I know over the my throughout my career, and help them grow and get awareness so that people start supporting these organizations.
Yeah, one of the cool things that I really want to see is there's an army of talent out there right now. People who are, some just using unemployment as a break, some using it as a recalibration, some really just trying to fill the time in some positive way as they look for a new full-time job. There's an army of talent. And for nonprofits to take advantage of that, for different groups to say, hey, all these people who want to help, have the skills and networks to help, how can we all get together and do something a lot bigger than ourselves? And it sounds like you've begun to take those first steps for yourself.
Yeah, and it's not only rewarding, but it's just helping other people, and they're so thankful for that. And any help that people can give is more than enough. And I think that's, I'd rather do that than sitting at home all day looking for a job, because honestly, they're not going to have job posts every hour, and so this is going to give me an opportunity to meet a lot more new people here in the community, and it might open doors that I'd never thought would open up. So I'm really hoping to just meet a lot of people and talk to people, and help these organizations the best that I can.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you said, sitting around all day applying to jobs isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere. How do you spend the day? What does your ideal day look like these days?
So I kind of wake up and I look at the news and go through my emails, and then I look at the stock market, because that's important too. I need to make some money while I'm
You bring
unemployed,
some
right?
good news. Bring some good news lately. The stock market. So you got that.
So, I really kind of spend my time on LinkedIn looking at connections that I'm connected with, looking at stories out there, trying to see the people that I follow, and kind of see what they're writing about, but also looking for jobs, but most of all, looking for people to network with. Who can I get in touch with to learn more, to understand their industry? I think that's the really one thing that I've been looking at is, how can I pivot? Um, you know, is it an industry change? Obviously, the retail industry is something that I've been in, as well as sporting goods, and retail industry is not thriving right now. And so, what are the things that are thriving? And I'm looking at those industries to talk to those people to understand a little bit, how can my transferable skills come to those companies so that I can be successful.
And what's interesting, so you're a longtime athlete. I saw that you've done half Ironmans. You were a competitive golfer for a long time. So, and obviously worked in sports at Nike. So athletics is a big part of you. Combine that with the fact that you sound like when your layoff first happened, you took a step back. You thought a lot about purpose, plans, how to spend your time well. Are there any other things, maybe not work related, that you have as a goal for unemployment? Some bigger metrics you're going by, some other places you spend your time, maybe extra time exercising, certain goals competitively or with social people. What else are you spending your time on when you're not focused on the career and the next role and things like that?
Well, I had just moved into my new house in November, and I took a complete landscaping project on. I took all the landscaping out myself and redid it all. So that was the first trajectory. But, for me, it's important to exercise and to get out there and get out of the house, especially with COVID. I think staying inside all day is not a good thing. And I take about an hour and a half to 2 hour walk almost every day if I can, just to kind of de-stress and kind of have time for myself to really kind of get my day going. I think that's really important. And, having Zoom calls with your friends here and there and calling people, I think that has been really great as well. The one thing that I miss really about unemployment is the fact of socializing. And I think everyone has that issue a little bit now because everybody's at home. But I think it has made me understand kind of what remote work is and what not, what that could feel like. And I think remote work can be very lonely and isolating. And it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But I think it's really important to get out and exercise, even if it's just for a walk, to really kind of just take some time away from your screen and the house and really just kind of have your own time a little bit.
Yeah, we've heard from so many people, the landscaping project, we've heard people say, I just put all my time and effort into building a deck, or I just made a patio for my parents. There's so much, I think with people with some extra time, there's so much money being spent at Home Depot. They should just give an automatic 30% credit to anybody who doesn't have a job because they're spending time and effort and money on all those places.
They have definitely gotten some money out of me.
What do you tell me about the walk, Monique? What do you do on your walk? Are you podcasting? Are you calling friends? Are you just listening to birds? What's your 2 hour walk like every day?
So I would say the majority is just listening to the birds and just enjoying like my own thoughts in my head. I've recently connected with some really amazing women from Nike, from the Winged Women group. And they've been kind of become coaches, mentors to me, and they've been really great. And one of them gives me podcasts to listen to, and it's been really, really amazing to kind of listen to those on my walks. It's kind of made me reflect a little bit more on my journey and where I want to go next. A lot of these women are entrepreneurs, and they've given me some thoughts about some things to think about, and I will continue to just try to think differently. And this pandemic might go on for a longer time, so unemployment might be unfortunately a lot longer than we had anticipated. And what can I do in the meantime to maybe think about my own journey in my career and how can I make a difference? Maybe it's consulting or advising, or I'm not 100% sure yet what that is right now, but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think about things a little bit differently.
Monique, you, I think, embody what we're going here with time well spent. You're clearly thoughtful and looking at the bright side. What would be your advice to somebody who loses their job today and calls you tomorrow and says, Monique, this is the hardest thing I've ever been through. The emotions are toiling. What would be your advice to them?
Well, it's funny because some of my old colleagues who got laid off in the same layoff as me, they come to me because they feel like I've done all the right things, and I don't even know if I did all the right things, but I've taken the opportunity to meet so many people, and I think that has been the one thing is there are so many people out there who are wanting to help you. Just reach out. I think there's a big difference about being fired and laid off. I think there's this really I think when people hear laid off, they feel like it's a negative, but it's not your fault. It's just, companies have to do that for whatever reason, usually financially, and take it as an opportunity and open that door and kind of take the time to reflect. I feel like I'm kind of in that career midlife crisis almost a little bit. I've been working, real big chunk of my life, and I'm finally for the first time taking a break. I've been nonstop going, and I think you just need to give yourself a little bit of grace. Not every day is going to be perfect, and you don't have to search for a job every day because a job's not going to come around every day. But just keep, the doors open to networking. They say 80% of new jobs come from networking. So that's something that I think is really important is go out and meet people, and you can find them anywhere, to be honest. You can find them on the street. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on your social channels. You can find them anywhere, really, and just reach out and talk to people. You never know. Maybe there's something out there that you never thought about doing, and all of a sudden you find out that could be your passion, and that could be your next career step. And I think the most important thing is just give yourself some grace. I think it's hard for people to think they were laid off. For me, it was a blessing. But I think it's just take a step back, and then give yourself about 2 weeks, and then just kind of get going again. Because I do feel once you get out of the rut, you're going to get out of the rut. So
I love it. Monique, thank you so much for the positive spirit, and thanks for joining us on Riveter's Time Well Spent.
thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed meeting you.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.